Hi, it's Matthew Grace here, and I want to talk to you today about being a vegetarian. I don't want to convince you to be a vegetarian, but I would like to influence you. And I want you to know that I was not a vegetarian. I was a meat eater for the first 20 years of my life. I only considered vegetarians as skinny guys with bad skin and backpacks, and that was my idea of a vegetarian. And when people would say, hey, maybe you eat too much meat because I ate meat every day, I'd be like, leave me alone. I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't ready to hear anything. Later on in my life, as I became a highly competitive athlete, I came across these principles studying nutrition about eating according to our biology. And I have to say, it's pretty clear that we were not meant to eat meat. Everybody says, oh yes, we're carnivores, we're definitely meant to eat meat. No, we're not, and you could prove that physiologically. First of all, we don't have fangs to inflict mortal wounds on animals. We don't have claws. Most human beings are not fast enough to catch animals. We'd starve to death if we had to rely solely on our bodies to hunt. We need tools to do that. And people often say, well, if you're a vegetarian, where do you get your protein? And I usually answer that question with another question. Well, where does a horse get its protein? Or where does an oxen get its protein? The strongest species on the planet is the silverback gorilla. And genetically speaking, they're almost identical to us. Their intestinal tract is set up the same. Their stomach is set up identically. Their jaws move side to side and up and down, as ours do. Our jaws move side to side and up and down. Carnivores' jaws move exclusively up and down. They do not move side to side. They have razor-sharp teeth for inflicting fatal wounds. So, and psychologically speaking, another point is when people come across a dead animal, they're disgusted. They're like, ew, that's gross, or oh, did you see that roadkill? But if you give a dead animal a French or Italian name, all of a sudden, and you put it in, on a plate in a restaurant with some parsley, it becomes some kind of delicacy or some kind of normal thing to do. Eating animals is extremely unnatural, and you can definitely verify that by looking at human beings' reactions to when they come across a dead animal. Nobody goes up to it, sniffs it, or starts drooling, right? That doesn't happen. Physically speaking, eating cooked animal flesh is incredibly disease producing. It's the cause of heart attacks, it's the cause of high cholesterol, it's the cause of high blood pressure. It is proven by modern medicine, and doctors themselves will say that eating cooked animal flesh causes cancer. So why would you do it? Also our planet takes a huge hit from our animal-based diet. Half of our water supply goes to farm animals. Farm animals are polluting, their waste are polluting our rivers and our land. I think a third of the world's grain, it's close to that, it's in my book, but a huge amount of the world's grain goes to feeding livestock. It's just absurd. We spend so much money and time and resources on making a pound of meat where we could feed, scores of families with one cow, with what we put into one cow. Also, as I've said before, you might have heard me talk about this in other videos, the amount of disgusting feeds that cattle are fed and chickens are fed. For instance, ground up cardboard, cement dust, irradiated sewage sludge. Irradiated sewage sludge is fed to animals. And that doesn't include all the antibiotics as well, and all the drugs and hormones and steroids that are fed to these animals. We're ingesting all of that. So my suggestion to you, and it's a suggestion, is that you try for a week to be a vegetarian and try some meat substitutes. There's some wonderful meat substitutes on the market these days, And I've gone over them in other videos, and please check those to see. And you'll find that most of what you love about eating meat are the associations you have with it, and obviously the taste, which is usually brought about by sauces and spices and the way it's cured, by the way it's flavored. You can do the exact same thing for vegetarian things. And, you know, a lot of us love our house pets, and we treat our house pets like they're family members, right? We spoil our pets. Can you imagine eating your pet? No, that's a horrifying thought, isn't it? But what is the difference between your pet and a cow or a pig? Cows and pigs have the same emotional life and the same intellectual life as your dog does. Yet somehow they're okay to torture. 10 million animals a day are killed in this country. 10 million a day, that's staggering. I mean, imagine the effect that that has, vibrationally speaking, you know? So I want you to know that you can be extremely healthy, you can be extremely strong. There are many great athletes who are vegetarians and have been over the years. Edwin Moses is one that comes to mind. He was an Olympic gold medalist over and over again, and many others. And I've been an athlete my entire life, my entire adult life, and I tell you, vegetarianism has done nothing but increase my athletic ability and my physical well-being. So that's all I'm going to say for now. I hope that was helpful to you. I'd like to hear your comments. And remember, healthy acts always produce health. I'm Matthew Grace.